Back in the chat today. What's up, Robbie? And Robbie says, I hope that the Pittsburgh Steelers tell Aaron Rodgers to kick rocks and he retires. Robbie, you might get your wish today, buddy, because that is exactly where we are going to start to show off today. Robbie says, I hope the Pittsburgh Steelers tell Aaron Rodgers to kick rocks and he needs to retire. So, Robbie, you are not the only one that says, hey, Aaron Rodgers, it is time to shit or get off the pot time. Robbie, you are not the only person out there saying, hey, Aaron Rodgers, we're tired of you being in the media. We're tired of you not making a direct decision of what you're going to do. Guys, Cam Hayward, Pittsburgh Steelers legend himself, just went off on Aaron Rodgers. Now, you can say, oh, he was just speaking his mind. No. The man was speaking from the heart, and he is pissed off that Aaron Rodgers is even remotely thinking about dragging the Pittsburgh Steelers through the mud right now. But Cam Hayward, guys, goes off on the Not Just Football podcast and spoke about Aaron Rodgers. And he said very, very plainly, and I quote, Aaron Rodgers, you are either with us or you're not. Either you want to be a Steeler or you don't. It's that simple. That is my pitch. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it. I'm not trying to do this. I'm not trying to do that. Either come to Pittsburgh or stay your ass somewhere else. Guys, is Cam Hayward right? Is Cam Hayward right to put a statute of limitation on Aaron Rodgers saying, hey, we need to know right now? Basically, that's what it comes down to, is we need to know right now. We are a month away from the NFL draft, and we want to know right now. And I'm going to tell Cam Hayward, slow it down, baby. Cam Hayward, you are right for speaking out about Aaron Rodgers. You are right about, saying, hey, either you're with us or you're not. It's basically he's saying it's shit or get off the pot time. No more prairie dogging, pushing out that big old tuba turd down the toilet right now. But guys, if you look at Aaron Rodgers, stat-wise, 100% stat-wise, don't use your eye test. Act like you never watched a game for the New York Jets last season. Strictly based off of stats, Aaron Rodgers was a top 10 quarterback in 2024. And that is what a lot of people that are Aaron Rodgers fans are going to tell you, that he had top 10 stats in 2024. But, as you guys know, we do the eye test over here at Man Hour. We do a little thing called we watch the football games. We do a little thing of like, hey, you know what? Stats lie to you. And if you use your eyes, Aaron Rodgers was a bottom tier quarterback in the NFL last season. He was 20th and below, easily in 2024. On the other hand, the Pittsburgh Steelers currently only have two quarterbacks on the roster. They have Skylar Thompson and Mason Rudolph currently on the roster. The Pittsburgh Steelers signed Skylar Thompson after he was released by the Miami Dolphins after the regular season and signed him to a future contract, a.k.a. a camp invite, basically what it comes down to. In 2024, Skylar Thompson played just in 3 games, and he was 21 for 33 for 187 yards total passing with a QBR of 3.9. He did not play in 2021 and 23, and in 2022, he did have a pretty decent year when he came in and actually ended up leading the Miami Dolphins to the playoffs when Tua did go down. Mason Rudolph did play in 8 games for the Tennessee Titans in 2024. He threw for just over 1,500 yards and a QBR of 55.5. The QB free agent guys market is very, very dry. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and Trey Lance are, quote, the only big names left off on the board. And the opening rant was about a dry free agent market as is. And if a name is out there right now, you probably don't want that guy, a.k.a. Stephon Diggs. Guys, the Steelers could still make a trade with the Falcons to bring in Kirk Cousins, but that is a story for another day. Let's slow it down, baby. We are exactly a month away from the NFL draft, and the Pittsburgh Steelers do hold the 21st overall pick. And then they hold a 3rd round pick, which is 19th overall in that 3rd round. So Cam Hayward, I am with you, but I'm not with you at the same time. I am with you because we are tired of hearing about Aaron Rodgers. We are tired of not knowing what direction the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to take, right? Because you are right, Cam Hayward. I understand what you're saying. I am reading between your lines here. Guys, Cam Hayward is saying, listen, Aaron Rodgers, we are a month away from the draft. We have a Super Bowl caliber team. We have a defense. We have an offense. All we're missing is above average quarterback play. Same thing as last season. All we're missing is above average quarterback play. Now, are you going to be that above average quarterback? Or are you going to sit back and like, I don't know what to do with my hands? Because I can tell you, in the next 2 weeks, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be like, you know what? Aaron Rodgers isn't here. It is time for us to move on. We need to start focusing about potentially moving up in the draft to get a quarterback. Because about this time last week, 2 weeks ago, Jackson Dart could have easily fell to the Pittsburgh Steelers at 21st overall pick. Now, many people are speculating him to be a top 10 pick now. Do the Pittsburgh Steelers need to move up and get a quarterback? Do they need to trade for a quarterback? All that needs to be figured out in the next week. So, guys, Cam Hayward said, and I quote, either you want to be a Steeler or you don't. That's simple. That's the pitch. It's that simple. Guys, is Cam Hayward right? Does Aaron Rodgers need to stop playing this media game? Does Aaron Rodgers need to stop trying to, be a limelight center of attention for another offseason? Cam Hayward, I am with you to an extent. I am with you that, yes, we do need to figure out what Aaron Rodgers wants to do. I am with you because, yes, we do need to understand that Aaron Rodgers wants to be a quarterback or he doesn't. He wants to play or he doesn't. At the same time, you do not want to push the future Hall of Famer away. You do not want to get underneath that skin to push him away, because who else free agency wise do you guys got? Russell Wilson, you going to bring him back? Are you going to bring in the bust Trey Lance? Are you going to spend a first round pick on Kirk Cousins that could potentially be a no-go? Let's just be honest. So what do you guys think? Is Cam Hayward right? Jump over to the chat here. Old Man River says, but he's worth the money in Minnesota. Those receivers have a good line and a decent running back. Old Man River, you are exactly right. Aaron Rodgers would be perfect in Minnesota. However, the Minnesota Vikings said, no, thanks, but no thanks, right? We're sticking with J.J. McCarthy. They've actually turned down calls about potential trades for J.J. McCarthy. Now, yes, we spoke about this on Monday, that Justin Jefferson and that Jordan Addison are potentially the best wide receiver duo in the NFL. We're going to talk about that in overreaction. But at the same time, the Pittsburgh Steelers now suddenly have a pretty good wide receiver duo as well. They have DK Metcalf and they have George Pickens, which George Pickens is on a contract year. He wants to ball out. They have Jaylen Warren, pretty damn good running back. Should have been running back number one for the Pittsburgh Steelers last season, but they had Najee Harris still. Najee Harris is now with the LA Chargers, if I'm not mistaken. Give Jaylen Warren a chance to get the ball, and they'll be all right. The one thing that the Pittsburgh Steelers have better than the Minnesota Vikings is the defense. The defense is pretty damn good on the Pittsburgh side of the ball. I'm not saying Minnesota Vikings defense sucks, but Pittsburgh Steelers defense is better. Minnesota Vikings do have the better coaching staff, though, and system, however. So I get what you're saying, but I agree, but I don't agree. Let me waffle around that answer. Give me a hashtag waffle in the chat below, guys. We need to get those shirts made. Old Man River says, from diva to the bar, cougar. What? Ay. Whatever that's supposed to mean. It must be an old man joke. My man Alpha Rob's in the chat. What's up, Alpha Rob?
Pigskin pun. Get you some.
Alpha Rob says Aaron Rodgers should go to the NFC because in the AFC he has no chance. Alpha Rob, I see what you're saying. The AFC is very, very dominant, top heavy, right? You have your Buffalo Bills, you have your Baltimore Ravens, you have your Kansas City Chiefs, and you could potentially slide the Cincinnati Bengals up there, but that's a story for a different day. But we definitely have four top-tier teams, whether you put the Bengals up there or the Houston Texans. Either way, there's four dominant teams in the AFC. On the NFC side of things, though, I think it's a little bit more spread out. And I think that makes that tougher, right? I think that makes that tougher because it is going to be very, very difficult to get out of the first round of the NFC playoffs. Look at the Minnesota Vikings last season. Very, very hard for them to get past the LA Rams. Nobody thought the LA Rams were going to be shit last year, and look what happened. They went and played the Philadelphia Eagles in the divisional round, right? Beat the Vikings in a neutral site. Let's just be honest. Even though the Vikings were, 15-2, 14-3, whatever they were, no slouch of a regular season, they got blown out. In the AFC, it might be a little bit easier, especially if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, to get out of that first round. Because you do have a very good potential to win that division. And if you win that division, you might play a team like the Denver Broncos, like the LA Chargers, like potentially the Miami Dolphins. All very, very winnable games in the first round. And that would be a success in Pittsburgh. Getting out of the first round is considered successful in Pittsburgh. Hell, making it to the playoffs is successful in Pittsburgh. Hell, getting 9 wins is successful in Pittsburgh. Minnesota, they're expecting to win the Super Bowl this season. Alpha Rob says, but in Pittsburgh, Tomlin is guaranteed 9 to 10 wins. You are right, Alpha Rob. And I said this, it was actually on a different show, so I guessed on a show earlier today. And I said on that show, it was a Minnesota Vikings show there. I will post a link for the people over there on Twitter. If you guys are following me on Twitter, manhour_Buck. We are part of the Believe Network. I was on a Believe in the Vikings show there. And I said that Aaron Rodgers makes the Minnesota Vikings the best team in the NFC. And then I put a caveat on that. And then I said, without Aaron Rodgers, the Minnesota Vikings are a 12th best team in the NFC. Guys, that is how good or how bad the Minnesota Vikings can be in 2025. I think Aaron Rodgers still has a little bit left in the tank. I think Aaron Rodgers can definitely catapult them to the moon, me and the Minnesota Vikings. With the Pittsburgh Steelers, definitely a playoff team. Definitely a first-round win. Second-round win, third, that would be tough. Let's not get crazy. I got a little crazy last year, and I got ego checked. All Pennsylvania Pittsburgh, or all Pennsylvania Super Bowl, right? Got a little bit checked. Jim Powell is in the sky. He's a pigskin pundit.
Pigskin pun. Get you some.
Jim is the CEO of the pigskin pundits, guys. Be like Jim, click on the membership tab below. Get behind the scenes footage, get some free merch and a lot of other things. He says Bill Belichick equals Aaron Rodgers. Does that mean the greatest of all time, the best coach ever, or the second best coach? Like, Jim, I need you to put a little bit more context into that. So are you saying that Aaron Rodgers needs help around him to be successful? Or does Aaron Rodgers bring the success with him? That's the question, because is it like the old outage says, was it Tom Brady or was it Bill Belichick? Is it Aaron Rodgers or was it Mike McCarthy or Matt LaFleur, right? Like, that's tough. Old Man Rivers says, whoa. Philly, Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota. Come on, NFC. They're their own powerhouse. Old Man River, I'm not saying the NFC is not bad. I am saying the NFC is more balanced across the thing. Yes, you do have a outlier team, meaning the Philadelphia Eagles. But from 2 on, you can mismatch any team out there, and I would not be mad. Meaning the Green Bay Packers, meaning the Minnesota Vikings, meaning the Detroit Lions, Washington Commanders. Let's not sleep on the LA Rams. The San Francisco 49ers could come back right there. 6 teams that you could place anywhere from 2 to 7. And that's a tough game, right? That is tough. Let's just don't be trying to put words into my mouth. I know you try to put other things in my mouth, but that doesn't work. I say no small things in there today. Jim Powell says he could go to Jacksonville, and they have the exact same season Trevor Lawrence has. Jim, when we speak on the Jacksonville Jaguars in depth come in June and July, when they really start breaking down their schedule and their draft and all that stuff, I'm going to tell you one thing. The Jacksonville Jaguars offseason was great. Now, it has been overshadowed by the Bears offseason. It's been overshadowed by the New England Patriots offseason. It's been overshadowed by some of the big trades. Deebo Samuels to the Commanders, DK Metcalf to the Steelers, right? But the Jaguars sneakily got a lot better. They trimmed off all that fat. Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, right? Got rid of that fat, got rid of those big contracts, and they brought in some players that fit their system. The Jaguars could be pretty decent in 2025 and could win the AFC South. We'll be talking about that more in depth later, but slow it down, Buck, slow it down. And Jim says the Belichick equals Rodgers, meaning that nobody wants them. So Jim is saying that Belichick is not wanted. Aaron Rodgers is not wanted. And so get out of town. Get out of town because we don't want you no more, baby. And Jim says it is raining sideways right now, Buck. So, guys, if you guys are unaware, here in Indiana, Kentucky, up through Michigan, we are experiencing some tornadoes right now. There was just a tornado in E-Town, if you guys know where E-Town's at. We are experiencing that. So, Jim, I just put up the weather here in my town, WDRB, Fox here. We are in a severe thunderstorm warning. Nothing too crazy yet, but I will keep an eye on that. So thank you for that heads up. So, Jim, John, you guys are my resident picks and pundits here tonight. If you happen to see a tornado warning in the Louisville, Kentucky area, please let me know because I got the headphones on. They're noise canceling. I won't be able to hear anything. And my doggies need protected. But thank you guys for that. Thank you. I appreciate everything that you guys do. And there's a ladybug in here. Sweet. Ladybugs. All right, guys. So moving on. Let's talk about those